evening. Good evening. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the first of a new series. This season we'll be here every Thursday after the Europa League games. Yes, my dream job, having to root for Spurs to go as far as possible in a competition. Come on! You're a Spurs fan, by any chance? This evening, we'll be talking Europa and Champions League, the fragile mental state of Jose Mourinho, and of course, witchcraft. No expense spared. Spurs kicked off the Europa League campaign against the might of the Azerbaijan league leaders Karabag. Yes, in case you're wondering, the reason we call them Karabag is because they're worth 5p. But you can reuse them for the next game. It's the same joke, really. In other news last night, there was a complete disaster, but that's enough about Matt getting kicked out of Bake Off. And Arsenal decided to get their annual Champions League disappointment in before the clocks go back by losing 2-1 to Dinamo Zagreb, and so the moaning begins. And the Chelsea manager, Jose Mourinho, has been out on the town to celebrate their victory over an Israeli pub team. Sorry, Maccabi Tel Aviv. Let's have a look at that photo. Yes, there it is. I do apologise. From that photograph, I'd say Jose's had more than just a haircut this week. So let's not wait any longer. The football's on. Yes, we're back. Hi, chaps. We're back after a long, hot summer when all we had for entertainment was tennis, golf and the Labour leadership contest. And in homage to Jeremy Corbyn, I've grown a beard and we have a white, all-male, middle-aged panel for you this evening. On the loony left, we have Carl Donnelly and Richard Osman. And on the disenfranchised right, Ian Moore and Clive Anderson. Yes, indeed. Thanks for coming. Also, our man of the people, Keith Dover, is back fit and raring to go and eager for a run out. And as you may have noticed, we've got some Spurs fans waiting to give us their considered opinions. There's a sentence you don't hear very often. Hello, chaps. Give them a round of applause. Right, now, it's a slightly different format from last year, and it's become a team game, but the point system remains exactly the same. And by that, I mean it's entirely random and arbitrary. And anyone who has any complaints, please put them on a postcard and send them to G. Lineker at BT Sport. And title it, "You Really Need to Get Out More." So, question one. Spurs breeze to a comfortable 3-1 victory over the mighty Karabag, and they have a new hero, the South Korean Son Heung-min. He's one of their own. Carl, you're a Tottenham fan. How long will it take for Spurs to break this striker, do you think?
Well, no, I think he looks like he might be one of the ones to break our duck. I mean, to be honest, Lamela scored a lovely goal tonight, which almost carbon offset the other 84 minutes of carnage he put on the pitch.
Son's first goal was brilliant. He had all those people to beat who were about 10 yards away from him.
I think because no one knows about him, and it's not,
but hang on, can we just say that first goal? He was stood in the 6-yard box. If you saw this, he was stood in the 6-yard box, and they just left him alone.
Yeah, but
like,
Soldado would have missed that. So I think
Soldado, let's have a look. This is the penalty. This is Trippier. That's a stupid name for a fullback, isn't it?
That's nominative determinism. That's what it's called.
No one has ever said the words nominative determinism.
I'm getting it out of the way early. Yeah. Out of the way early.
The goal. There he is. That's Son with the first goal.
To be fair, though, Karabag had done their research on Spurs and they thought the best way to deal with their forwards is leave them alone in the 6-yard box and they'll muck out themselves.
This is a nice finish, though. Nice finish from 7 yards out. There he goes, 2-1. And then we see Lamela's goal after about, like you say, 25 misses.
It wasn't the misses, it was every time he touched the ball, he just gave it away, which, for £30 million is a little bit much, isn't it?
Somewhat, I would say. Somewhat. So, all right, let's talk about Azerbaijan.
OK.
If I had a pound for every time I said Does anyone know? Do you know?
Yeah, of course I do. We talk about Azerbaijan almost endlessly on Pointless. I've probably said the word Azerbaijan more often than anybody else in the history.
So tell us a bit about Azerbaijan.
Well, I know that the capital is Baku. Does that help?
Thank you. That's a start.
They won the Eurovision Song Contest in 2011.
Did they?
They did indeed. Their 7th best football team is Karabag. That's about all I got.
That's enough there.
Between Russia and Iran.
What's it like in November when the corresponding game is?
It is going to be balmy. It's going to be lovely.
Balmy as in mad or warm?
No, both.
All right.
If you are a Spurs fan, pack your swimming costume. That's all you need to know. Get Ryanair to Baku.
They've got to play Chelsea 4 days after. Is that the best preparation?
Who, Karabag?
No.
That's
oddly.
That's amazing. They won that league.
They do move. Karabag do move. They were the first Azerbaijani team outside of Baku to win their league. And then they moved into Baku, which is, that's a very Eastern European thing to do, isn't it? Just invade.
Yeah. They were in a...
What, a team moving from one place to another? That
would never happen.
No, people of Woolwich are still complaining about that.
Let it go. We got the Tottenham over there, Mike, who runs the Tottenham podcast, and Omar, Tottenham fan, and Keith Dover standing next to him. Yep. That's the nearest you've been to Tottenham fans, isn't it, Keith?
Yeah, I don't feel safe. Trust me. They look like the crew of a pirate ship.
Right, OK.
And that's the nicest thing I could say about
Right, and how do you guys feel about what went on this evening? You feel?
Well, it was a win, wasn't it? Top of the group, 2 wins in a row. Played some of the fringe players. Wasn't a great performance, but as Spurs fans, we'll happily take the win.
And do you say that after every game?
Yes.
I love how
win.
Cocky these two are being now. We just watched the game with them, and they were terrified.
They were.
They kept going, they're equalising. That equaliser. There we go. Lamela. And then as soon as he scored, it was a different story.
I'm surprised to hear the term Tottenham fringe players, frankly. I thought they all were fringe players. You tell they were resting people because they had Andros Townsend on the pitch.
He was resting on the pitch. England?
Well done, mate.
Yes. That's where we are at the moment. Now, at least you can find your way home, For the Spurs away game in Monaco on the 1st of October, the club have come up with a special deal where for £500 you get flights, a 4-star hotel and match tickets. For £1,300 you get to fly with the team to the game. And for £1,750 you get to come on for Harry Kane in the last 10 minutes. Which is still 10 minutes more than Adebayor will ever get again. Do you know what? I've got to give out the points for that round, and I think Carl made some beautiful points. I'm going to give the points to Carl and Richard, ladies and gentlemen.
It's all about points.
It's 1-0. To the loony left. Is this a precursor for what's going to happen in the 2020 election? No. So Harry Kane is the latest in a long line of great Tottenham strikers. Jimmy Greaves, Martin Chivers, Gary Lineker, Clive Allen, and of course Roberto Soldado. I've asked Carl a question. Ian, is Harry Kane England's saviour, do you think?
I think it's a little early to be making these comparisons, to be perfectly honest with
he's had one great season, he scored 31 goals, let's pile the pressure on him.
Well, I think that's exactly what... You didn't even mention Garth Crooks in that list either. I mean, he's not even achieved what Garth Crooks has achieved yet, so I think we should steady on.
Harry Kane does shorter sentences, though, doesn't he?
Who doesn't? Who doesn't do shorter sentences?
That is true.
Saudi Arabian justice system does shorter sentences than
I think we know where the points are going.
You wait, Carl's got an awful lot of Saudi Arabian justice as well.
Yeah, well, obviously, I'm going to leave that area alone. Jimmy Greaves, right, I was told about Jimmy Greaves that he scored a goal that was just one of the best goals ever, but there were no cameras there.
Oh,
I think we've
all done that.
Everyone's got a story, though.
Yeah, you did as well.
Oh, overhead kick. Unbelievable. From my own penalty box.
What a great goal. I heard it was a beauty.
For you to get an overhead kick, that is spectacular.
That's got a way over.
Why not get better Jimmy Greaves?
Why not get a better...
get better Jimmy Greaves, I think, is a good sentiment.
I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, when Spurs are actually paying for his therapy after his...
So they should be.
OK, listen.
England legend.
Yeah.
We'd love to chat, but a little bit busy now.
I've had the privilege of interviewing Jimmy Greaves and Dennis Law. In my childhood, my father and I used to argue endlessly with my friend and his dad about who was better. We always said Dennis Law was better because we were Scottish, and they always said Jimmy Greaves. And the argument went on for years, and we must have only seen them play about 3 times, because it was never on television. We probably saw them in one England-Scotland game, maybe at an FA Cup final, once or twice coming to Arsenal. That's it. How do we manage to keep the argument going based on absolutely zero information?
I know, we've got an hour of this ahead as well.
Yes.
The interesting thing
what a fabulous player Jimmy Greaves was.
The interesting thing with Kane, he's played 4 times for England, scored 3 goals. He scored, in 3 quarters of the 3 and 4 games, which is very impressive. If he continued that for his entire career, he still wouldn't have a better England record than Jimmy Greaves, who got 44 and 57.
Exactly.
He could score 3 and 4, and he'd be 1 goal short.
Yes.
So that's a record.
Talking about other Tottenham strikers who've done pretty well. Robbie Keane He's got more international goals than Klose, Puskás, Koksix and Muller. Oh, sorry, no, they're the only 4 who've got more goals than him.
And Robbie Keane's played for more clubs.
I knew it was one of those. Good fact. I'm pretty good at facts, yeah. Anyway, he's got a lot of goals, and we have seen that ridiculous celebration too many times.
Is that the arrow?
No, he does a sort of roly-poly, doesn't he?
Forward, I would call it a forward roll.
Would you? It's a roly-poly at school, though, isn't it?
Oh, OK.
I sat behind him on a plane once. He was with his kid, and he's very well behaved. Both of them were very well behaved. So it speaks well of the man, I think. Got very well-behaved children.
What did you expect him to be doing? Just Robbie Keane just running around a plane, just punching people.
Doing roly-polies.
I'm glad we got the Robbie Keane anecdote in there. That was good. He behaved quite well on a plane.
I knew that would come.
You know what? I've got to give the points, and as much as there was some beautiful stuff from over here, I've got to give the points for Saudi Arabia to Ian Moore, ladies and gentlemen. Ian Clive. Yes. 1-1. Now, before we go to the break, it's time for this. Da, 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 da.
The thing that links them together.
We spent a lot of time and money on that. We got a choral choir in. It's called The Thing That Links Them Together. We couldn't really think of a snappier name for it. We're going to show you 4 club badges. Here they are. They are Watford, Hibernian, Reading and Trabzonspor of Turkey. And you have to try and guess the thing that links them together. Do we have any ideas what links them together?
Is it rock stars?
Is it rock stars?
Yes. Elton John used to more or less own Watford, didn't he? Hibernian, they've... The Proclaimers, very big. The Proclaimers.
No.
Yeah, no.
They all were really rough jonglers gigs.
Just for us.
Is it the first answer I'd give if you asked me where Sean Wright-Phillips is now?
Very good. I'm liking it, but again, that's wrong. I'll tell you what the answer is.
Oh, I think I know the answer, by the way.
Oh, do you?
I thought this was going to go across a break like a proper TV show, but you're going to give it away now. That's how you get people back. That's what you do.
Proper TV.
No, but the way you introduced
I'm sorry.
Like a proper TV show, like Pointless. Named after Chelsea's record so far in the Premier League.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
I think I have 50% of it.
What do you think the answer is?
Well, I know that Marion is from Chelsea is at Trabzonspor.
Yeah.
And I know that Reading sold their
centre
back to Chelsea and loans them straight back.
The answer is they've all got Chelsea players on loan, although it could be that right now they could all probably still beat Chelsea in a competitive game. Well, I've got to give a point to Richard Osman for that one. That was very, very good. Richard Osman, ladies and gentlemen. 2-1 to the Looney left. That's it for part 1. When we return, we'll be looking at the rest of the happenings in Europe, although not in Hungary, that's just upsetting. Part 2 of the Football Zone with our panellists Ian Moore, Clive Anderson, Richard Osman and Carl Donnelly. The score is currently 2-1 to the Looney left. I know, it's worrying, isn't it? In amongst the crowd is our man of the people, Keith Dover. Keith, you warming up there? How's the groin?
Yes, I'm fit and ready to go.
Actually, don't answer the groin question. In the Champions League, the 2 Manchester clubs spent a combined total of £250 million on some of the most technically gifted talent in Europe, and they still both lost. Ian and Clive, is it time for English clubs to start hooving up to a big centre forward again? See if that works.
Well, it didn't work for Arsenal, did it?
He wasn't there. Yeah. He wasn't there, was
he? Well, it didn't work when he was there either.
No, that's true. But Manchester, we'll start with Man City. I really like Italian defenders. I genuinely do.
Oh, Buffon's fantastic, isn't he? Because at my age, you look at most of the players, you think, why am I still interested in this boys' game? There's Buffon. He could be my dad. He looks so old. And yet he's brilliant.
Did you just say Buffon could be your dad?
Well, I mean, in terms of his age look.
I'd like him...
Have you ever met Clive's mum? I'm just saying that he could be.
I don't know.
I've never met him by that. This could go any which way.
A proper TV programme, jokes about my mum.
Thank you, Clive. Thank you very much. Don't leave me hanging.
Thank you. Anyway, no, they're excellent.
They are great. Italian defenders, they just have all that nous. And why, can I ask a question, why are Italian defenders so pragmatic and the country not?
Yeah, Carl. Yeah.
I mean, Italian defenders seem to play for years, and they've had 49 prime ministers in the last 25 years. is the point I'm
making.
making.
The secret is that they're not playing their prime ministers in defence.
Berlusconi would be good at bringing on the young players, wouldn't he?
that's a vicious rumour.
No. half of the stuff Berlusconi's done, I'm surprised he's not actually tried to get himself in the Italian national team. Just one day to pay about $5 billion just to come on.
But I like the sort of nous of them, and I mean, we've got a clip actually of the Man City Juventus game from Tuesday night. This is the biggest foul I've ever seen in my life. It was essentially a step ladder, wasn't he? Yeah. But this is.
How does that illustrate the idea of the Italian defenders? Got nous, that he was pushed off it by company.
I know what you're saying, but the only time that they managed to get a goal was when they were fouled.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, it's Morata, isn't it, with the winner there?
Good goal.
That's a good finish. Yeah.
I mean, Juventus have lost Pirlo, Tevez, and Vidal, and they still beat the best team in England.
Yes.
What does that say? English Premier League, best league in the world.
Well, they're kind of cheap because they pass the ball around, don't they, Juventus? You know, each player just. I mean, this has never been the British way, has it?
That's true.
Well, I mean, City have lost Joleon Lescott. So
that would affect
these things even themselves out
emotionally as well. Absolutely. And what about Manchester United? You're not a United fan by any chance, are you? There's a United fan over there. Okay, you got just so we can see him before we remove him. United. All right. So you must have been disappointed in a United fan. I don't know your name. I'm sorry. What's your name?
Jesse.
JC, okay.
Jesse.
Oh, Jesse, I'm sorry.
Jesse.
I thought you were after Jeremy Corbyn again, but... OK, so, that was a bit of a disappointing night, wasn't it, really?
It was a little bit.
OK, I think that's pretty much summed that up. It was. I mean, here's the thing. United's two strikers, Depay and Martial... their combined age is slightly less than Teddy Sheringham's was when he was still playing. They don't have a lot of experience up front.
No, they look good. They look good, though. I think I think this season they're going to have a good.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I like the fact that Depay goes. I like the fact he's got Memphis on the back of his shirt as well.
Cool.
It's exciting.
That is quite cool, isn't it?
He should have those long tassels coming off.
The best foreign players are the ones that have their first name on the back of their shirts, aren't they? It's always quite. Although at Fulham we're Brian Ruiz, and he just walks around with Brian.
Right.
That's not working over here.
It's
Brian,
probably quite cool where he is.
In Costa Rica, that might work.
Brian,
it's not.
Fred. Anderson was the best name, I think.
You like it?
I thought that was a tribute to me, I felt, and he played roughly like me.
I like the guy who was playing for Karabag tonight, Reynaldo.
Reynaldo, that's right.
The Ronaldo tribute act.
It's beautiful.
Did you ever play? Because obviously some people play FIFA and that now. It used to be, I think, Pro Evolution Soccer used to do that thing where they just change the names of one letter because they didn't have the rights.
Oh,
The whole Karabag team just looked like that, just like Danny, Reynaldo.
Yeah, OK. I'm going to have to give out the points for that round. And I did like that last joke, but to be honest, Reynaldo, for me, is winning it. We did it in the dressing room and it worked again now. So here it is, Reynaldo. Points to Ian Moore and Clive Anderson. I like it. 2-2. Yes, Arsenal got their bid for second place in their Champions League group off to a fine start with a ridiculous defeat away in Zagreb. Here we are. Olivier Giroud got sent off and proved that good looks and a complete lack of brains go hand in hand. Richard, Carl, I'll ask you this question. What is the point of entering a competition you've got no chance of winning?
Well,
I'm not asking about the points tonight, you understand. This is about Arsenal.
Yeah, but talk to any fan of any Premiership team. They're not going to win it apart from the top four.
No, but
you're not going to do it, and we do. We love it, don't we? You want to do it because you want to be a heroic failure. You want to get to the semi-finals and then go, I can't believe we didn't get to the final. You're not going to get to the final. You haven't got enough money. That's the truth of it, because that's what football's about. Yeah. Like all the Premiership teams, Leicester, Swansea are not going to win the Premiership because they haven't got enough money.
I understand.
But how unbelievably exciting to be fifth. That's the point, isn't it? Is we all set our compasses differently.
No, I understand that, but the thing is, Clive, you'll know this. We try really hard to qualify for something that's going to lead to bitterness and disappointment.
No, I know, but
it seems a little bit sort of.
Yeah, I was thinking about 2 or 3 seasons ago. There was a last game at Arsenal, and Arsenal were desperate to win it so they could be in the Champions League, and Newcastle were desperate to win it so they weren't relegated. So that next season, Newcastle weren't going to win the Premiership, and next season Arsenal weren't going to win the Champions League. You've hit the nail on the head. This is a serious point.
It's almost as if football is not entirely logical.
You're absolutely.
I mean, it used to be the case that any team could win anything, and they can't anymore.
No, but it's not a case of what's the point entering a competition you have no chance of winning. It's what's the point entering a competition you're not even trying to win. If you're going away, no, you didn't. You didn't play. No, you didn't play Coquelin, and you didn't play your best goalkeeper.
We didn't play our best goalkeeper.
No, you didn't. You're going away.
That's a slur on Ospina.
Well, he's better than Cech, is he?
I didn't say that.
No, well,
it was squad rotation.
Resting
It wasn't
players.
trying to lose the game. It wasn't
it's not. But it's not playing your best team. If you're in the group that they're in, you need to be taking points against Zagreb, I think. And so
we'll be all right with Bayern Munich.
You're better.
If only you were manager and not Arsene Wenger. God,
I shall move in next season.
There's a couple of great moments that we'd like to see. Sergio Ramos did possibly the stupidest dive I think I've ever seen in my life. Have a look at this. It's for Real Madrid. I mean, what? He goes, watch it again. Oh, there he goes. I mean, that is a joke.
Dives upwards.
He dives upwards.
Yes. I've seen them given.
Yeah, for Real, yes, absolutely. That was pretty bad. But the best goal, I think, of the two nights was a guy, Florenzi, for was it Roma against Barcelona? This is a shot. Have you seen this? Watch this goal. That's a shot. There it is.
He's gone for that.
Oh, yeah, there's a round of applause from in the studio. Oh, there he goes. Beautiful.
And it's against Barcelona, so
it's against Barcelona, yes.
But it's so great to see that, because it made all those players that score from the halfway line, and we're always excited about it. You're kind of going, but you're in the middle of the pitch. Look at this guy's out on the wing. Yeah, that's amazing.
But that's the only way to play Barcelona. People say you've got to bypass their midfield, so taking shots from the halfway line, it's tactics.
And that justifies 300 long shots that go way nowhere.
We didn't see all the shots beforehand, but that's a pretty amazing bit of skill.
Yeah.
And it's nice that we can see it.
I love it every
I did that, by the way, on a Sunday, but there was no camera there.
I did it. There was no goal there, unfortunately.
Every single time someone does it, especially if they do it at your club, the entire crowd is exactly the same, which is, oh, come on.
Yeah. What are you doing?
So furious.
What are you doing? OK, I'm going to give out the points. And for no reason at all, I'm giving the points to Carl and Richard, ladies and gentlemen. 3-2. And Looney left. OK, we're going to have a little quiz before we have our half-time cup of tea and a wagon wheel. If there's anyone under 40, ask your dad. This is called Friend or Foe. I'll show the teams pictures of various football personalities. They have to guess whether they're the best of friends or the bitterest of rivals, and give us a reason why. Here are the first ones. Louis van Gaal and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Friend or foe? What do you reckon, guys?
Well, they're obviously foes, because Zlatan is foes with everyone.
They're two of the friendliest people.
Zlatan called LVG a pompous ass in his autobiography.
Well, that's
he did,
exactly right.
And then Zlatan said to him, I'm not going to take it. He said, look, Van Gaal was telling him how to play, and he said, Marco van Basten told me how to play, and he told me how to play differently, and I'm going to listen to him, not you.
I think that's fair.
Boom!
That's fair.
Boom! Shots fired, Louis.
It is a shame that two massive egomaniacs like that can't be friends. You'd like to think that they've got some kind of closed Facebook group or something where they just chat to each other on a downturn. Simon Cowell and Kim Jong-un are there as well.
I love the way you took that way further. I really like the idea of them going into a room and going, "Oh, darling." That was great.
That'd be lovely.
As you were saying, sorry.
I was reading about Van Gaal today. Have you heard about? I think it was when he was at Bayern. One of his techniques after they played badly, he'd just go in. The players that played badly, just drop his trousers and pants and just make them stare at his bits.
Yeah.
Which, if that's not a way of encouraging them to improve, I don't know what is.
He's got the same haircut down there.
I don't know how you know that, but fair enough.
I once played badly.
When they were at Ajax, as you said, Zlatan said that Louis van Gaal was a pompous ass and a dictator with no sense of humour. Whereas Louis van Gaal describes Zlatan Ibrahimovic as a pompous ass and a dictator with no sense of humour. Here's the next one. A point to him for that one. Roberto Martinez and Johan Cruyff, friend or foe? I love this one. I mean, how could you be a foe with Roberto Martinez, the nicest person?
Yeah. Cruyff wanted him to go there, didn't he? Wanted him to take over as manager.
What, Arsenal?
No, at Ajax. Didn't he want him to go there to be the manager when he was high-flying a couple of seasons ago?
I thought you meant Cruyff going to West Brom. Wigan, sorry, Wigan.
Martinez is best friends with Jordi Cruyff.
That's exactly right.
I heard
Ian Moore gets another point, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. It is a friend. Johan Cruyff's son, Jordi, was in fact best man at Roberto Martinez's wedding. Although, as with everything in Jordi's life, the speech would have been much better if his dad had given it. I know. It's lasted 4-3 to the disenfranchised right, ladies and gentlemen. 4-3. That's it for part 2. That's it. We'll be back after we've had a stern talking to from the producer. Welcome back to part 3 of the Football's On with our guests Ian Moore, Clive Anderson, Richard Osman and Keith Dover, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Keith there. Like you said, it wasn't Arsenal enough, was it really? We've had a half-time substitution. There's no reflection on Carl's first-half performance, but it's a squad show. Carl is only just back from the Edinburgh Festival. We thought we'd ease him in slowly. He's over there with Millwall fans.
I'm here with Matt, who obviously doesn't look like a Millwall fan, does he?
No.
Actually, Matt's just been telling me that apparently Millwall made Kane when he went to them. They could see he was a world beater. So.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
One of the 6 clubs he was on loan to. Yes. 10.
Yeah.
10. Oh, thank you very much, Omar. Score, by the way, is 4-3 to the disenfranchised right at the moment. So, strange goings on in Burnley.
I put a spell on you.
I love the way you all looked around.
There's might be a picture.
They're not singing. Kevin Carleon, or Kev the Witch, as he likes to be known, has been trying to help Burnley lift the curse of the cruciate ligament, which was one of the less successful Sherlock Holmes mysteries. Burnley, what's that, Watson? A broken leg? Burnley have suffered 5 cruciate ligament injuries in the last 18 months, and as an alternative to good old-fashioned medical science, they've been offered witchcraft.
That's not much of a record injury. Jack Wilshere's had more injuries than that on his own. So.
Maybe we need that. I mean, do you think sacrificing a virgin might work in this circumstance?
First of all...
Over the leg?
Hang on.
They'll be lucky in Burnley.
Controversial. But warlocks.
What?
If you're a man, you're a warlock, right? I know this. I've happened to been in a few covens, right? OK?
Have you now?
Well, what happens in Epping Forest stays in Epping Forest. I'll say no more.
Keith, we're on national telly, is all I'm saying.
All I'm saying is if you're a male witch, you got called a warlock.
Right. Thank you very much.
And he's obviously been at the Arsenal Medical Centre for years because all our players get injured year in, year out.
Yeah.
And then normally, a witch will give you a toad to put in your pocket for a week. That might cure a ligament injury. Or in this case, maybe a raw onion.
Right.
Under your bed.
Actually, by the way, you're a Fulham fan.
Can I just say I miss Carl?
Well, you would do. And obviously you're going to lose a few points.
You're a Fulham fan.
You know what? This is nothing.
Felix Magath had all sorts of weird stuff going on.
Well, exactly, he did. When Breda Hangeland we didn't do cruciate, but he hurt his knee, and he was in with our doctor, who's a brilliant doctor. He's at Brighton now. He's a terrific guy, a very, very nice guy. Very
top doctor.
Top doc. He was top doc.
Knew his stuff, didn't he?
And he did know his stuff.
Yeah.
I think he'd been to medical school. Yeah. This guy. I'm not kidding. This guy, I'm not kidding. He had a stethoscope. Anyway, so he's a good guy.
Stonehenge for him then.
But exactly. So Felix comes in, and the doc saying that it's going to take. Probably going to take a week before he's back in training. And Felix says, "No, you've got to put some cheese on that knee." And the doctor is like, "Some cheese on that knee." Someone had to go out to the local Asda near Motspur Park, which is the training ground, get some cheese.
Any particular cheese?
Hangeland, no, whatever was there, block of cheese, and he had to sit there with this cheese on his knee.
For how long?
He said, "I'm going to fine you."
For how long?
He said he had to do it for an hour at a time.
Right.
And the doctor, weirdly, about a week later said,
shocking.
"I might leave." Felix Magath is about as good for doctors as Jose Mourinho.
That's absolutely shocking. I'm surprised that a middle-class club like Fulham would go to Asda. I mean, wasn't there a Waitrose close?
I think that's... You know what? Of course, here at the Football's On, we're sceptical about this sort of hocus-pocus. except Keith, who's been crossing himself and looking for a goat. But the truth is you never know. And if the witchcraft does work out, we know that Chelsea have a vacancy for a new club doctor. I've got to give out the points for that round. And you were there, Richard, you were there, but suddenly you came in with the Waitrose, and that was beautiful, I felt. So I'm giving the points to Ian Moore and the disenfranchised rights. Beautiful. Now, while we're on the subject of cursed clubs, Chelsea manager Jose Mourinho has had a terrible start to the season, notwithstanding the game last night. Although in his press conference at the weekend, he said him and his players were not under pressure. The refugees are under pressure. That's what he said. He was, of course, talking about the millions of displaced people wandering through Europe looking for a new home. That's right, Chelsea's loan players.
Is that a worthy joke?
No, it's not.
I'm not sure.
Chelsea, generally, people say they're not that entertaining, but in the Premier League, they have been massively entertaining so far, haven't they? Let's face it.
That extraordinary argument with these doctors, though, that's the most...
crazy.
Why couldn't he just say after the next day, I'm sorry I got that wrong, my fault, they were just doing their job. It was Hazard's fault for pretending to be, or for going down and not getting up and getting on with it.
Why didn't Jose Mourinho own up to being wrong?
Well, he could on that one thing. He doesn't have to...
That's like saying, why doesn't Arsene Wenger get a striker? It's just not what he does.
Oh, I feel the points going that way. I'm so sorry I have to sit next to him, Keith.
No, it's a joy to watch Jose under pressure because he can be a little bit smug, can't he, when he's winning? So to see him having to fight his corner and be argumentative, and he's asked about his third season, and it tells the reporter a stupid question. Use Google. What's it? Just answer the question.
But he did say, he said, you know, if I ever leave Chelsea, I'm going to stay in London. That's where I'm going to find my next job. So you would change your tune if he was suddenly available, I suspect, and you could get Jose Arsenal.
I don't think Arsene Wenger would allow it. I've got a funny feeling.
It's too expensive.
When he's director of football, well, he wouldn't. He would. I don't know. He'd be so cross.
Imagine. I'm so cross. And there was an email. Apparently, a Chelsea mate of mine told me there was an email from the club shop with a hat-trick of special offers on the day they lost to Everton.
Well, that's good marketing, isn't it? That's what they're supposed to be doing. But didn't Jose come out with saying that they banned banter?
Well, here we are.
Banter.
You're absolutely right.
So he's not tuning into this.
In order to arrest the slide, Ian's absolutely right. Jose Mourinho has apparently banned banter at the training ground, although you can still sleep with other players' girlfriends. This idea, I'm not naming names, I'm not. Yeah. This idea of banning stuff is not unusual. Here's a list of things we found that managers have banned. It's top 10. Alex Ferguson banned coloured boots. This is true. A number of managers have done this, including Malcolm Mackay, although when he said coloured, he might have meant something different. My name's Ben Elton. Thanks very much. Good night. David Moyes banned chips.
What, even the ones on their shoulders?
Yeah. Nice. I should have thought of that. Arsene Wenger banned Mars bars. Raymond Domenech, the French manager, banned Scorpios, which apparently is why Robert Pires was dropped from the French squad. We'd love to have you in the team, Robert, but you were born in October. Juan de Ramos banned Jaffa cakes. I love all these. We got the top 5 here. Neil Lennon banned bobble hats and then turned up for training wearing one. This is a weird one. John Toshack banned gravy.
Yeah. It was in a sandwich.
Who brings gravy to the training ground? Giovanni Trapattoni banned mushrooms. The French coach Paul Le Guen, which is French for the Gwen, he banned Monster Munch. And Paolo Di Canio banned, amongst other things, ice in drinks, mayonnaise, tomato ketchup and singing in the shower, and all signs of being normal. Yeah, I might have made some of those up. Paolo Di Canio really likes tomato ketchup.
Why would you ban Monster Munch and not other crisps?
Well,
are you still allowed to have Frazzles?
Because he was French. Was that the Paul Le Guen one?
Yes.
Wasn't it? Well, see, the French Monster Munch is very different to UK Monster Munch. It's an absolute disaster. It's like what Steve Martin did to the Pink Panther films. It shouldn't go under the same name. It's a dreadful. I'd ban it. They're banned at home. I import my own.
How do you enforce a ban like that, though? I mean, do they have to have a drugs test every morning?
Yeah, you see what kind of crumbs are around their mouth.
Oh, showing traces of Mars bar in this. Yeah. You know, I mean, how do you
I'm detecting pickled onion flavour
in
your blood sample.
OK, I'm going to give out the points for this round. And, do you know, Ian Moore, once again, is in with the Monster Munch stuff. I'm liking it. 6-3, ladies and gentlemen. 6-3 for the disenfranchised rights. Very good. You're happy to be along for the ride, aren't you?
Absolutely.
He's winning all the points.
This
He's doing a lovely
team
job.
game business suits me down to the ground.
Yes, the best game of the weekend was Leicester's thrilling comeback against Aston Villa, leading to Tim Sherwood giving the most miserable post-match Villa interview since Paul Lambert did every post-match Villa interview. Richard and Keith, Tim Sherwood has not got a poker face, has he, really?
He hasn't. It's interesting, that thing, because utterly, the football's a terrible thing. It ruins his entire week, ruins every Aston Villa fan's week. None of the rest of us care at all. If you're a Birmingham fan, you're actively happy. If you're a fan of anyone else, you say, I honestly don't care. It was exciting to watch on Match
It was
of the Day.
great.
You know,
it was a great game.
Exciting, but you know what? I haven't given it a second thought afterwards. I never will again. But you know that everyone who's a Villa fan is having such a miserable week.
But his
Not
interview,
awful
he was grieving, wasn't it? It was
Yeah,
the sort of
I mean,
thing
it
you
was
might
quite
say
bad,
if your
wasn't it?
dog had died or your girlfriend had died. It's the
imagine-
saddest day in my life.
I'd
Yeah.
imagine, sorry, can I just stop you a second? I imagine if your girlfriend had died, they probably wouldn't do an interview.
I said the dog. I actually said the dog had died. I don't know how you put those together. I don't know, but the dog has died or your girlfriend had left you.
He's never felt worse. He was captain of Blackburn when he took us down, right? That's worse than losing to Leicester.
No, because that's only Blackburn. So it's
only
okay.
Blackburn, so he was all right.
Oh, there we go. Digging
Carl,
back at us.
you know about grieving, being a Spurs fan. I mean, did you see that game?
I didn't see the match. I did see the interview afterwards.
And
there was a horrible bit. You could tell the interviewer had the questions like in his head already. And when he went to ask the one, how are you going to pick your players up? He obviously asked it so hesitantly because he'd seen the minute leading up to that Tim Sherwood looked like he was going to kill himself.
Yeah.
So he literally was like, how are you going to pick your players up? And Tim Sherwood was like...
He was a little bit
He has a
upset.
bizarre stare, though. You look at that, and he's just like, when you see him...
No,
on the
that's just at
touchline-
you, Keith.
No, but he looks like he's looking at somebody else in the stadium. He's like looking over there, not actually looking at the game. He's slowly going crazy. I mean,
Well, that's what being manager of Aston Villa would do to
looks
the
like
person.
a scarecrow. You know, he's just standing there.
All managers go crazy. Is
In the
truth.
end.
Jose Mourinho.
Starting to happen.
Crazy. Wenger, definitely. They just all go because it's the worst job in the world, just standing there. Nothing you can do. It's the worst job in the world.
What he needs to do
Well
there is
paid,
take a
but-
leaf out of LVG's book and go in the dressing room, drop his kecks and say, look at these lads.
Maybe tried that already. It hadn't had the right effect.
And that's why they lost 3-2. Tell you, we were winning 2-0.
On the other hand, Ranieri looked delighted, didn't he? No one thought that
That's
would work
because his
out.
team won, you see.
Yeah.
That would be what that
yeah.
is. Yes.
But he
Thank
was
you for that
unhappy
point.
when they were 2-0 down, you see.
Ah.
But then he was happy.
Thank you.
It's basic human emotion.
You're not getting the points yet again. But I'm going to give out the points. Do you know what? Ian Moore did a fine job once again.
How are you
But
doing
you know
this
what?
today?
I'm not having it. It's too much. I'm going to give the points to Richard and Keith, ladies and gentlemen. Got to keep it going. Now, we've all played on some terrible pitches, but none as bad as this. Have a look at this, right? This is in the Brazil for second division. And is that the worst you've ever played on? It's basically...
Is that in a rainforest?
That is essentially Tim Sherwood's tears.
I would introduce this. This is a good thing.
Well, this is where Brazil all learned their football playing on the beach. Unfortunately, the tide had come in, so they just carried on.
They're practicing for Qatar. It's going to be a lot of rain there.
You didn't hear Ian say, is this in a rainforest? I thought that was funny. Yeah. That's it for part 3. The score is currently 6-4 to the disenfranchised right. When we come back for part 4, we'll be looking at the collision of crap, otherwise known as Blackburn against Fulham. See you in a bit. Welcome back to part 4 of the Football's On. Score is 6-4 to the disenfranchised right. Now, as we said, the big game of last weekend was, of course, Blackburn Rovers against Fulham. Keith and Clive, you can take a back seat whilst Ian and Richard battle it out. Ian, what happened, first of all? What happened?
We lost.
You lost 2-1.
We lost 2-1. We were robbed. We hit the post twice. We had a perfectly good goal disallowed. That
Because
went
you
over
haven't
the
got
line.
video technology down in the depths of
By the way,
No, not in South West London.
Hitting the
Doesn't come
post
there.
twice is not being robbed. That's missing the goal.
They moved the goal.
Oh, no, you deliberately kept moving
moving
the goals. That goal the ball went over the line. It was a perfectly good goal, but we weren't giving it because that's what happens when you go to big big grounds. You know, you don't get those decisions.
Honestly, bless you for saying that.
No one's ever said that. That's nice.
Oh,
Fulham have had a good day. They've won the last 3 games, you were saying.
3 games in a row. That's the first time since 2012 that we've won 3 games in a row.
What I loved, you said, we've got the player of the year last season from Rotherham. I think that is a beautiful thing to say.
When you play in the Championship, that's what you start talking about. Well, you can't do all this Champions League and Man United, Man City. Who cares? Because you literally do start thinking about Wolves. And we got the player of the season from Wolves, Rotherham, Blackpool, Blackburn.
Yes, you took our best player last season.
We did. Tom Kearney.
Oh, really?
Player.
Yeah.
He's terrific.
Yeah, because we've got a transfer embargo because we're not allowed to buy any players.
Why? You're the Barcelona.
Well, it's just northeast.
It's northeast.
It's northeast.
No, but why have you got
QPR can get away with spending whatever they want, you know, but we're not allowed.
Well, no, but why? But
because we are, I think it's something at the last estimate, something like 700 million in debt. But that's
why should
that's neither here nor there.
And does it also mean you don't get given a goal when the ball goes?
Absolutely, it's persecution. It's utter persecution.
You are the Jews of the North.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay. There's 2 Moussa Dembélés playing.
There are 2. Obviously, when we sold Moussa Dembélé to Spurs, we got a new Moussa Dembélé within a week. Within a week.
Is that true?
But yeah. It was literally almost immediate. So,
just have that shirt.
So people could keep the shirt, even if they're the first name.
That's cloning, surely.
And he is no, because they'd probably change the name if it was cloning. And also, they look very different. Moussa Dembélé, the new one, at the end of last season, is a little skinny French kid. He came back, like some people come back after school holidays. He came back, he is massive. He's a
You've
beast.
grown.
He really has to.
Moussa.
Are you sure this isn't another Moussa Dembélé?
He's a terrific player. A third Moussa Dembélé.
Moussa Dembélé the
when they're singing one Moussa Dembélé, does everyone go, no, 2?
No, we sing there's 2 Moussa Dembélés.
All right, okay.
It's like Ronaldo. There's just endless Ronaldos.
There are endless Ronaldos. And a
Some of them fatter than others.
So, news from Ghana. Kwesi Nyantakyi, president of Ghanaian FA, I didn't make that up, it's true, he wants more sexy women at the game to improve attendances, which, let's face it, is flawless logic. Because if they can attract 36,000 sexy women to every game, that would significantly improve their average gates. Here's what he said. He actually said this, I've said this over and over again, we must let sexy ladies enter our stadia and the men will readily follow them into the stadium to watch the games. Because that's what we're like, blokes. We're a bit like,
Is he a friend of Sepp Blatter's? Because I think that was his theory about women's football, wasn't it?
Well, it's a bit like the dog in Tom and Jerry, when they wave a bit of meat.
Yes.
And essentially, we're the same with women, apparently.
I'll tell you what, it takes a special kind of idiot to go to a football match and say, I'll tell you what this needs to do. It needs to appeal to men a bit more.
What's the definition of a sexy lady? I mean,
eye in the beholder.
I mean, I've got to be careful because the wife's in, but in the past, I've favoured a woman of a more ample size, for instance.
I think you're going down the whole
wrong line on this answer. All I'm saying
are you saying...
I think the more high moral ground...
Can I introduce the new chair of the Ghanaian FA?
I'm happy to take that role on, ladies and gentlemen.
What a beautiful thought. Carl, sexy ladies at football, it's a bit annoying, isn't it, the whole idea of having women for men to follow in? I mean, what's he talking about?
Actually, it's probably the worst place you could try and pull, because, I don't know, first impressions that any woman would get of me at a football match is that I'm a crying, sweaty, screaming, swearing mess. So, I think you want to go somewhere quiet.
I get that with Keith when he's just normally... I mean, there is obviously rampant sexism in Ghanaian football. It's a bit of a shame, isn't it, really?
Well, you're just making this unprovoked attack on Ghanaian.
It's just on the statement of one bloke.
Tell us more about the rampant sexism.
Carl, I've suffered so much at the hands of Kwesi.
Yeah, where are the pictures to back this up?
Yeah. The pictures?
Yeah, where are the pictures of sexy
rampant
women?
sexism?
Yes.
No, I've just heard what the guy said. Well, you've all turned on me all of a sudden. I'm the one who's giving out the points. In America they have cheerleaders, but it's a slightly different thing, isn't it, really? It's not seen as... I don't think the men are leering at them in the same way.
What does he
they are
expect
leering
these
at them.
sexy women to do then?
Sorry?
What is he expecting these sexy women to just walk in and then the men will follow like rats and the
Pied
Piper,
Piper.
and then what? They'll leave out the tunnel at half time?
I don't know what you meant by that, but didn't you used to have cheerleaders at Fulham? But didn't they, weren't they poached by West Ham?
In the very
Cheerleaders
bleak
were poached.
Yeah, they were transferred from Fulham to West Ham.
On deadline day.
4.7 million.
Yeah, would have come to Arsenal, but they were too expensive for us.
OK, I'm going to give out points for that round. And you know what? They're winning over here, so I'm going to give out the points to the loony left. Yeah. Keep it interesting. Wow. It's so exciting.
Although, to be fair, Ian has hit the post twice.
Doesn't count. The Welling striker, Sar Kaba, has been the first to be retrospectively charged with feigning injury. Let's look at the number 9 on this video. We'll see the look at the bottom of the screen there, number 9. Down he goes. Yeah. That is apparently he's gone. That really hurt his face. It's outrageous.
And he got sent off for that, did he?
Yeah. The Tranmere defender, Richie Sutton, got sent off, but after the FA took a closer look at the footage, his red card was rescinded and Kaba may face a 3-match ban. Although, interestingly enough, it only happened because the game was live on BT Sport. When interviewed, Kaba removed his mask and said, "I would have got away with it if it wasn't for you pesky broadcasters." This is a positive step, isn't it? Something like this. I like this retrospective stuff.
I think it's brilliant, but of course at the end of the game we won't know who's won now. We have to go home a bit like sort of cycling or Grand Prix racing. You have to have an inquiry, goes on for weeks, days.
Well, no, they don't replay the game.
Well, you've got to replay the whole game. If you're going to start going over those incidents, they'll go and give that goal to Blackburn. We'll do
definitely.
The whole thing.
This is what happens when you get lawyers involved.
Yeah. Once you can do it, you've got to do the whole thing.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying.
But I think it's a very good idea. I think it's because this diving rubbish
Right.
is ridiculous. Why don't players just carry on with it? They feel a touch on their leg and they just fall over.
The thing they do is they get kicked and then they're holding their face.
Yes.
I mean, you don't go to the doctor, do you? Go, "Oh, I've got a dodgy arm." You don't hold your head.
It's the rolling over and over. That's the one. It's the rolling, because what happens is that when they roll over and over, you know if they're injured when they roll back the other way. Because when someone gets hit by a car and gets thrown 20 feet, they don't roll back towards the car. Now, by the way, sorry.
I've never rolled into a doctor's surgery, though.
Fair point. Chelsea v Arsenal this Saturday, 12:45 on BT Sport. Now, it's difficult to know which set of fans will be more nervous. Do you think that... Well, I know you...
I know we're going to lose. Because it's written, right?
It's written.
We've played a weakened squad out in...
Zagreb.
Yeah. And who on earth built that stadium? There's no possible way anyone could have watched football or even athletics. The Dynamo Stadium was built in such a way that nobody could actually see anything there. You know,
we lost the game. We're just
rather getting off.
We've got a better stadium.
Rather getting off the point. Let's look at the note.
He played a weakened squad.
He did.
So as we can do well at Chelsea, and we know it's going to go pear-shaped.
Let's have a look at. We probably will. Let's have a look at the other fixtures. By the way, anything in particular catch your eye?
To go back to the Chelsea-Arsenal, if Chelsea are in trouble, if there's one thing Jose's looking through in his diary, it's a competitive match against Arsene Wenger. He's going, thank heaven.
I hope that's the final score, 12:45. That's going to be a great game.
Beautiful. The final score this evening, ladies and gentlemen, is 6-5 to the disenfranchised right, ladies and gentlemen. Class. Thanks to the Tottenham posse over there. Thanks to Carl Donnelly over there, ladies and gentlemen. Ian Moore, Clive Anderson, Richard Osman and Keith Dover. We'll be back on October the 1st. Thanks for watching. See you soon. He's one of their own. Carl, you're a Tottenham fan. How long will it take for Spurs to break this striker, do you think?
Well, no, I think he looks like he might be one of the ones to break our duck. I mean, to be honest, Lamela scored a lovely goal tonight, which almost carbon offset the other 84 minutes of carnage he put on the pitch.
Tom's first goal was brilliant. He had all those people to beat who were about 10 yards away from him.
I think because no one knows about him, and it's not, It's
but hang on. Can we just say that first goal? He was stood in the 6-yard box. If you saw this, he was stood in the 6-yard box, and they just left him alone.
Yeah, but
Soldado
would have missed that. So I think,
Soldado, let's have a look. This is the penalty. This is Trippier. That's a stupid name for a fullback, isn't it?
That's nominative determinism. That's what it's called.
No one has ever said the words nominative determinism.
I'm getting it out of the way early.
Yeah.
Out the way
There's
early
the goal.
doors.
There he is. That's Son with the first goal.
To be fair, though, Carrier-Bag had done their research on Spurs and they thought the best way to deal with their forwards is leave them alone in the 6-yard box and they'll muck it up themselves.
This is a nice finish, though. Nice finish from 7 yards out. There he goes, 2-1. And then we see Lamella's goal after about, like you say, 25 misses.
It wasn't the misses, it was every time he touched the ball, he just gave it away, which, you know, for £30 million is a little bit much, isn't it?
Somewhat, I would say. Somewhat. So, all right, let's talk about Azerbaijan.
OK.
If I had a pound for every time I said... Good evening. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the first of a new series. This season we'll be here every Thursday after the Europa League games. Yes, my dream job, having to root for Spurs to go as far as possible in a competition. Come on! You're a Spurs fan, by any chance? This evening we'll be talking Europa and Champions League, the fragile mental state of Jose Mourinho, and of course, witchcraft. No expense spared. Spurs kicked off the Europa League campaign against the might of the Azerbaijan league leaders Carrier-Bag. Yes, in case you're wondering, the reason we call them Carrier-Bag is because they're worth 5p. But you can reuse them for the next game. It's the same joke, really. In other news last night, there was a complete disaster, but that's enough about Matt getting kicked out of Bake Off. And Arsenal decided to get their annual Champions League disappointment in before the clocks go back by losing 2-1 to Dinamo Zagreb, and so the moaning begins. And the Chelsea manager Jose Mourinho has been out on the town to celebrate their victory over an Israeli pub team. Sorry, Maccabi Tel Aviv. Does anyone know? Do you know?
Yeah, of course I do. We talk about Azerbaijan almost endlessly on Pointless. I've probably said the word Azerbaijan more often than anybody else in the history.
So tell us a bit about Azerbaijan.
Well, I know that the capital is Baku. Does that help?
Thank you. That's a start.
They won the Eurovision Song Contest in 2011.
Did they?
They did indeed. Their 7th best football team is Karabag. That's about all I got.
That's enough there. Yeah.
Between Russia and Iran.
What's it like in November when the corresponding game is?
It is going to be balmy. It's going to be lovely.
Balmy as in mad or warm?
No, both.
All right.
If you are a Spurs fan, pack your swimming costume. That's all you need to know. Get Ryanair to Baku.
They've got to play Chelsea 4 days after. Is that the best preparation?
Who, Karabag?
No.
Oddly. That's amazing. They won that league.
They do move. Karabag do move. They were the first Azerbaijani team outside of Baku to win their league, and then they moved into Baku, which is, you know, that's a very Eastern European thing to do, isn't it? Just invade.
Yeah. They were.
What a team moving from one place to another. That
would never happen.
No, people of Woolwich are still complaining about that.
Let it go. We got the Tottenham. We got the Tottenham over there. Mike, who runs the Tottenham podcast, and Omar, Tottenham fan, and Keith Dover standing next to him. Yep. That's the nearest you've been to Tottenham fans, isn't it, Keith?
Yeah, I don't feel safe. Trust me, they look like the crew of a pirate ship.
Right. Okay.
And that's the nicest thing I could say about.
Right. And how do you guys feel about what went on this evening? You feel?
What was
that photo? Yes, there it is. I do apologise. From that photograph, I'd say Jose's had more than just a haircut this week. So let's not wait any longer. The football's on. Yes, we're back. Hi, chaps. We're back after a long, hot summer when all we had for entertainment was tennis, golf and the Labour leadership contest. And in homage to Jeremy Corbyn, I've grown a beard and we have a white, all-male, middle-aged panel for you this evening. On the loony left, we have Carl Donnelly and Richard Osman. And on the disenfranchised right, Ian Moore and Clive Anderson. Yes, indeed. Thanks for coming. Also, our man of the people, Keith Dover, is back fit and raring to go and eager for a run out. And as you may have noticed, we've got some Spurs fans waiting to give us their considered opinions. There's a sentence you don't hear very often. Hello, chaps. Give them a round of applause. Right. Now, It's a slightly different format from last year, and it's become a team game, but the point system remains exactly the same. And by that, I mean it's entirely random and arbitrary. And anyone who has any complaints, please put them on a postcard and send them to G. Lineker at BT Sport. And title it, "You Really Need to Get Out More." So, question 1. Spurs breeze to a comfortable 3-1 victory over the Mitre Carrier-Bag, and they have a new hero, the South Korean Son Heung-min.
Win, wasn't it? Top of the group, 2 wins in a row. Played some of the fringe players. Wasn't a great performance, but as Spurs fans, we'll happily take the win.
And do you say that after every game?
Yes.
I love how
win.
cocky these two are being now. We just watched the game with them, and they were terrified.
They were.
Throughout the whole. They kept going, "Oh, they're equalising." That equaliser. There we go. Lamela. And then as soon as he scored, it was a different story.
I'm surprised to hear the term Tottenham fringe players, frankly. I thought they all were fringe players. You tell they were resting people because they had Andros Townsend on the pitch.
He was resting on the pitch. England?
Well done, mate.
Yes. That's where we are at the moment. Now, at least you can find your way home, you know. For the Spurs away game in Monaco on the 1st of October, the club have come up with a special deal where for £500 you get flights, a 4-star hotel and match tickets. For £1,300 you get to fly with the team to the game, and for £1,750 you get to come on for Harry Kane in the last 10 minutes. Which is still 10 minutes more than Adebayor will ever get again. Do you know what? I've got to give out the points for that round, and I think Carl made some beautiful points. I'm going to give the points to Carl and Richard, ladies and gentlemen.
It's all about points.
It's 1-0. To the loony left. Is this a precursor for what's going to happen in the 2020 election? No. So Harry Kane is the latest in a